companies. All that Britain demands in return is that we keep these two.
Live on Saturday Night Live, Colin Jost stared straight into the camera and launched a sustained verbal assault on Meghan Markle. It wasn't a throwaway joke. It felt like a statement, a turning point. Tonight, we're unpacking the brutal moment that turned Meghan and Harry from sympathetic figures into late-night punchlines. To understand how Meghan and Harry went from royal rebels to the world's favorite punchline, 3 moments tell the story. The SNL takedown that shattered the illusion, the wave of late-night mockery that followed, and the awkward self-inflicted wounds from their own public appearances. But it all started on Saturday Night Live. That night, Colin Jost took a harmless-sounding story about international trade and turned it into a cultural ambush. He smiled into the camera, the way he always does before delivering something sharp, and used the Sussexes as a metaphor for bad deals. Things that look good at first, but age badly. You could feel the shift instantly. This wasn't polite laughter. It was the sound of an audience that had been waiting for permission to laugh again. Michael Che, sitting beside him, fought to keep a straight face. He knew what everyone else did. The line had crossed from safe territory into dangerous truth. Because the joke wasn't just about Meghan's popularity, it was about value. The unspoken question was simple. What exactly do the Sussexes offer anymore? When the crowd broke into applause, it wasn't just because Jost was funny, it was because for the first time in years, SNL was treating the couple like any other celebrity duo who'd overplayed their hand. That moment marked a new phase in their story. No longer protected by royal mystique or media sympathy, they were punchline material now. And as brutal as that sounds, the segment was only the beginning. The real storm came after, when comedians across Hollywood realized they could finally say what they'd been hinting at for years. What began as a joke on Weekend Update became a referendum on the entire Sussex brand.
Earlier today, Suits actress Meghan Markle married some unemployed dude who still lives with his grandma.
The moment Colin Jost's line hit the air, the ripple effect was instant. It wasn't just an SNL skit anymore. It became the soundbite replayed across every talk show, gossip channel, and reaction video on the internet. The comedians smelled blood, and they went in for the kill. What made the moment sting was its simplicity. Jost didn't insult Meghan outright. He didn't have to. He used her and Harry as shorthand for a brand that looked glamorous on the surface, but collapsed under its own contradictions. The delivery was calm, controlled, and devastating. Within days, the late-night world followed. Joe Coy took the first real public swing on a major stage, the Golden Globes.
Turns out Prince Harry and Meghan Markle will still get paid millions of dollars for doing absolutely nothing. And that's just by Netflix.
His line about Harry and Meghan getting paid millions to do nothing landed like a grenade in a room full of actors, directors, and producers who actually had to work for their contracts. The laughter wasn't polite. It was cathartic. The industry had been holding back. For years, the couple had been treated as untouchable symbols of modern rebellion, the royal family's problem children. But Jost cracked the wall first, and Coy blew it open. Then came Trevor Noah. On The Daily Show, he stripped the whole thing down to its absurd core.
Everyone is wondering what they'll do to support themselves without any of that royal cash. Well, good news, Meghan's already got herself a job.
Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, is reportedly working on a deal to record a voiceover for Disney. Meghan and Prince Harry met with Disney's CEO at the London premiere of The Lion King in July, where Harry appeared to discuss possible future projects.
He joked about Meghan telling Harry he needed to get a job. It was the perfect line, because it sounded like what everyone had been thinking. The fairy tale was falling apart, and the reality was starting to look ordinary. The attacks started to shift. They were no longer about the couple's fame or money. Comedians were now targeting the one thing Harry and Meghan had built their new lives around: their story. The story of escape, of struggle, of being misunderstood. Jimmy Kimmel pushed that narrative to the edge. He pointed out the irony of two people fleeing the UK to escape racism by moving to Los Angeles.
How dark your baby is going to be?
Potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
Ooh. And you're not going to tell me who had the conversation?
That was awkward. I was a bit shocked.
Well, maybe it was that old lady right there.
For reasons that have yet to be explained, Meghan told Oprah that the palace decided before baby Archie was born that he wouldn't be prince, that he wouldn't be entitled to royal protection, and that they were concerned about how white the kid might not be.
It was a punchline that turned their grand moral statement into a Hollywood punch card. By that point, no one was defending them. What had once been sympathy was now exhaustion. The world had stopped listening to what they said and started laughing at how they said it. And the irony was perfect. Every time Harry or Meghan tried to reclaim their image, they handed the comedians new material. The more they talked, the funnier it got. And once late-night hosts had their fill, the stage lights moved to a harsher arena. Stand-up comedy, the one place where sympathy goes to die. With no network filters or polite applause, comics said what everyone else wouldn't. Ricky Gervais was the first to slice into the royal fantasy. He joked about performing for an audience that included Harry, William, Madonna, and Paul McCartney. None of them paid a cent. The message was clear. Royalty doesn't tip. That single joke hit harder than any headline. It exposed what had always bothered people about the Sussex story, the sense of entitlement that trailed behind them like an old perfume. Then came John Mulaney, dry as ever, comparing Harry's decision to leave the royal family to walking away from an inheritance out of boredom.
But you know it's weird, right? That Meghan and Harry left? Like, what? You thought rolling with those dorks in church clothes was gonna be fun? Had you been told it was nonstop laughs? Because you're thinking of the Munsters, you silly goose.
You're yelling at who here?
Her, the Meghan Markle.
Okay.
Yeah, just the fact that she wanted to leave the royal family because they were like, be proper and sit so. There has never been a point in my life where I did not know that the Queen of England was strict and not fun at all. So don't marry into the family with the most jive-ass boring people ever and then be like, oh, should we play Never Have I Ever?
Well,
he said, you leave your title because you don't like your 94-year-old grandma? That's something you wait out. The crowd lost it. Mulaney wasn't mocking Harry's politics or his pain. He was mocking his timing. It was the kind of humor that only works when everyone silently agrees. Tim Dillon didn't bother with subtlety. His set was pure venom. He called Meghan an insufferable character, the kind of celebrity who believes she's saving the world with jars of jam. He even admitted it wasn't about race, class, or gender. It was about intelligence. To him, Meghan's real crime was thinking she was smarter than her audience. It was ugly, but it worked. People laughed because they recognized the truth in it. The same faces that once filled charity galas were now the targets of cheap comedy clubs. That's how far their reputation had fallen. And then Chris Rock delivered the knockout blow. His special on Netflix tore through the noise with surgical precision. He opened by agreeing with Meghan's claim about royal racism, and then flipped it. It's the royal family, they're the original racists. But his next line changed everything. That's not racist. Even black people want to know how brown the baby's gonna be. The audience roared. The context collapsed. For the first time, someone with global authority on race wasn't defending her. He was laughing. That moment didn't just hurt their image, it ended the debate. By the time the stand-ups finished, it wasn't just comedians circling the Sussexes. The ridicule had spread everywhere. Late-night shows, podcasts, award ceremonies, each one piled on until mockery became the default reaction to their names. And when South Park got involved, the transformation was complete. The episode The Worldwide Privacy Tour wasn't parody, it was a televised execution. A royal couple flying around the world demanding privacy through megaphones. The writers didn't exaggerate, they simply reflected reality with sharper edges. Harry clutching his book while yelling at reporters to leave him alone. Meghan gliding through scenes obsessed with image, insisting she wants to be normal. It was a mirror, and the reflection was unbearable. The laughter that followed wasn't cruel, it was final. Then Family Guy delivered the drive-by joke that sealed the verdict. A servant walks in. Sir, your millions from Netflix for no one knows what. Put it with the rest. 10 seconds, one punch, and the room knew exactly who he meant. That's when the truth set in. They weren't controversial anymore. They were convenient. A symbol for excess, contradiction, and exhaustion. The modern fairy tale had curdled into satire. Every time a writer needed an easy example of privilege dressed as struggle, the Sussexes appeared. Every time someone mentioned getting paid for nothing, their faces flashed across the screen. The royal rebellion that once promised authenticity had become the ultimate case study in self-inflicted irony. Two people who ran from the palace to escape the spotlight, only to chase it harder than anyone else. And the laughter that followed them wasn't really about Meghan or Harry anymore. It was about what they represented, the illusion that fame and sincerity can live in the same room. By the end, no late-night segment, no apology tour, no Netflix special could change the story. The world had already decided. He fairy tale was over. The punchline had won.